Hello and welcome to gusmcdollgames, and thank you to our subscribers. I'm Nick McDowell, and today we're continuing the Allied grant campaign in Close Combat: A Bridge Too Far, a game based on the Battle of Arnhem, Operation Marketgarden. In this series we use the missions in the Allied grant campaign to illustrate one or more aspects of World War II infantry minor tactics at the company level and below. Each episode we conduct basic mission analysis, develop and analyse possible courses of action, then decide and execute the plan in real time, followed by lessons learned. Please remember to like the video and subscribe for more great strategy and tactics content. And if you want to buy me a coffee, the links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. In this episode, we're in the Nijmegen sector, the Groesbeek Heights area of operations. Our objective is the Groesbeek landing zone. It is day 2 of Operation Marketgarden, 1300 hours on 18 September 1944. Groesbeek landing zone. You must keep the Germans from the Groesbeek Heights as long as possible to allow the 30 Corps troops unhindered access into Nijmegen. Until they arrive, this will be the primary staging area and source of supplies for 82nd Airborne. As such, letting it fall into German hands would be a disaster. You may have to fall back, but try to hold on until 30 Corps arrives somewhere around day 4. Let's examine our forces. Airborne BAR teams are the core of the American Airborne Divisions. They use an automatic rifle, semi-automatic rifles, and hand grenades. The team leader is armed with a carbine. Use them on the front line, but they should run or hide from tanks. Airborne rifle teams use semi-automatic rifles and hand grenades. The team leader is armed with a carbine. Use them on the front lines and to hold victory locations. They are useless against tanks. Airborne bazooka teams consist of an anti-tank rocket launcher, a semi-automatic rifle, and hand grenades. Not as effective as the Panzerschreck, the bazooka still gives you cheap anti-tank capabilities. The bazooka's effective range is 8 to 80 meters. The American Airborne Sniper is a specialist trained in marksmanship. He is armed with a scoped M1903 Springfield rifle. Put him in an out-of-the-way place with good fields of fire so that he can eliminate enemy leaders. The Airborne 57mm is a light anti-tank gun. The team also contains rifles and grenades. It is best used as an anti-tank weapon, but it is also effective against infantry targets. Its high rate of fire makes up for its low armour penetration. Airborne 60mm light mortar teams also contain semi-automatic rifles and hand grenades. Because mortars can shoot over obstacles, position these teams behind buildings or trees. Use them to lay smoke screens. Airborne 30 caliber light machine gun teams include semi-automatic rifles and hand grenades. Position these teams in multi-story buildings or locations with long lines of sight so they can suppress enemy infantry. Next, let's look at the map and do some mission analysis. I will develop a plan and then execute it in the game. Our mission is to delay the German armoured counterattack from the Reichswald towards Nijmegen in order to secure supply to the Nijmegen sector. We have an airborne infantry company from the US 82nd Airborne Division consisting of 3 BAR squads, 2 rifle squads, a bazooka team and a sniper, with 2 60mm mortar detachments, a 30 caliber machine gun team, and an airborne 57mm anti-tank gun in support. North is towards the bottom of the map. I have marked 5 areas of interest. Number 1, the large open field I am using as a landing zone for supplies and reinforcements. This is not defensible terrain, as it has long lines of sight and little or no cover and concealment. Number 2, a row of trees along a roadway, somewhat screened from observation, which I am using as my defensive position. Number 3, a pair of ruined buildings, potential hiding places for infantry, offering a partly concealed approach between the farm complex and the tree line. Number 4, a farm complex with an orchard and multi-story buildings that give the enemy good observation and fields of fire over the whole area. And number 5, a gun pit that covers the open ground and partially enfilades the stone wall. Overall, I'm occupying poor defensive terrain. I assess the enemy will seek to clear my forces from this area in order to move towards Nijmegen and interdict 30 Corps. From my battle this morning, I know they have a strong force of armour and infantry. The enemy's most likely course of action is to use the armour as mobile pillboxes to fix my troops in position while the infantry advances. This would clear my forces from the area and I would need to fall back to Groesbeek. The enemy's most dangerous course of action is for the tanks to rapidly assault through the tree line, firing at everything that moves, with the infantry in close support. This would likely end in the destruction of most of my forces. My mission is to delay the enemy and be prepared to withdraw under pressure. I will adopt a similar defensive plan with some modifications based on my lessons learned from the battle here earlier this morning. The tree line will continue as the main line of resistance, with my troops concealed along the northern side of the road in a linear defensive position. Last time I lost my AT gun early in the fighting. I have brought up another AT gun, this time moved to my right flank. Perhaps this is a triumph of hope over experience, but from this position I am planning to give the gun more concealment and a better flanking shot at the enemy tanks. I would normally prefer my anti-tank guns in place to the rear of the front line, but the terrain here does not give me that choice. I can only deliver fire support to the main line of resistance from a frontline position. I also had a squad in one of the ruins near the farmhouse, but they were dangerously exposed and soon wiped out. This time I have only positioned a single sniper amongst the ruins closer to the tree line. I have retained my bazooka team in the field behind the tree line rather than on the front line in case the enemy tanks break through. This is better suited to their short range. Finally, I have doubled my mortar support and now have two 60mm mortars. I will use these to force the infantry to go to ground, slowing down their advance and causing casualties. Guns are emplaced within the forward platoon defence areas if fire support of the main line of resistance can be delivered only from such positions. I will now move my troops into position and execute the plan in real time. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the various courses of action and if you have identified a viable alternative. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more great strategy and tactics content. And so we begin. The enemy has a mortar in the open fields and 3 armoured vehicles to the southeast. The tanks target my anti-tank gun. My sniper targets the enemy mortar. My mortars target a concentration of troops in the open. My anti-tank gun fires at the Panther and misses. It fires at the Mark IV and misses again. It does not get a third shot and is destroyed. The gun crew take additional casualties. One of my mortars targets the enemy mortar with counter-battery fire. With my anti-tank gun out of the way, the Panther and Mark IV start to advance towards my positions. My BAR squad targets the Sturmgrenadier squad advancing across open ground. It causes a casualty. I adjust mortar fire into the concentration of troops. An enemy flamethrower falls to rifle fire. The tanks are holding back for the time being while the infantry engage. The mortar and rifle fire have forced the enemy infantry to ground, and their armour is advancing with caution. Despite the loss of my anti-tank gun, the delay mission is working. But my BAR squad takes a casualty. The rifle squad. My sniper is killed. My troops are pinned down and taking casualties. Time to start withdrawing, and I pull back the BAR and rifle squads on my left flank, all while keeping up the mortar fire. As they fall back, I temporarily lose visibility of the enemy. The tanks are pressing forward now.
No!
The enemy infantry are pushing towards my left flank. I withdraw the machine gun and prepare the bazooka team. I adjust my mortar again. My bazooka team is just behind the tree line, waiting for the tanks to get closer. I have also prepared a battle line in the fields with the rifle squad and the remainder of the BAR squad. The mortars keep up their fire. The rest of my force prepares to withdraw.
Team redeploy. Team redeploy. We're under heavy fire.
I am expecting enemy infantry to break through the tree line at any moment.
Team redeploy.
The first through is a Panzerschreck team. I target them with my battle line. They cause a casualty. My machine gun and a BAR squad have pulled back, but have not yet left.
Team redeploy. Team redeploy.
The Mark IV tank advances menacingly, almost within range of my bazooka. Time to call for a ceasefire. If this does not work, I will need to withdraw or face destruction. The battle ended because both sides agreed to a ceasefire. The battle was a stalemate. The landing zone remains in German control. I have made Allied progress of 48 against expected progress of 56 by the end of the day. I suffered 12 KIA and 1 gun, and inflicted only 3 KIA on the enemy. I select an overnight ceasefire period. Let's examine casualties on both sides. First, the Americans. They took casualties in one BAR squad, one rifle squad, the sniper, and the anti-tank gun, along with one casualty in a mortar detachment. Then the Germans. A strong force from the 1st Fallschirmjäger Army. Barely any casualties, they brought to battle 3 Sturmgrenadier squads, 2 MG42s, a Schützen squad, 2 Aufklärer, a sniper, a Panther, a Mark IV, a mortar carrier, a flamethrower, a mortar, and a Panzerschreck. Once again, I am fortunate to have fought such a force to a ceasefire. So, what did we learn? For the second time in this area of operations, I lost my anti-tank gun in the first moments of battle. In both cases, the gun did not score a hit on the enemy. In both cases, the gun was located on the platoon front line rather than in a depth position. Doctrine cautions against placing anti-tank guns in forward positions. It states that guns are emplaced within the forward platoon defence areas if fire support of the main line of resistance can be delivered only from such positions. Instead, these valuable support weapons should be placed in depth, behind the front lines, preferably in concealed positions allowing enfilade fire. If I cannot find a good firing position, the overall defence may be untenable, and I may need to withdraw to better defensive ground, rather than waste a valuable asset. For the landing zone objective, this could mean my next mission is to withdraw under pressure rather than delay. Let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and donate, and stay tuned for the next episode.